I have even more respect for this series than I already had. Seeing Achan lose to Hiroshi made my respect just double, because they did not have our main male character defeat this second seed, the second seeded player. They didn't have Achan beat him. And that right there, once again, concretes this series as realistic. Yes, Achan technically might have won if there was another round, but the way it went about was excellent. The execution of these scenes are excellent. It really is, because seeing Achan develop and progress as a character, for instance, working his way up, getting better and better by the episode, and literally seeing him at this point to where he almost beat a second-seeded player, really just shows the progression this kid has had since the first episode, honestly. He never really had fun studying, but now he's having fun playing tennis, and at the same time, even at the end of this episode, he's come to the decision where he might want to go pro. And that right there just shows you the character development. It really does. The episode was good. The episode had a lot of action. We got to see Hiroshi versus Takuma this episode, and it really had a lot of emotional impact. And for one thing that this fight really showcased and showed us all in this episode is that Hiroshi has developed as a character. Not just Achan developed as a character in this match. The main thing that happened is that if you continue to peck at those weaknesses at a certain person, eventually they're going to evolve and they're going to overcome those weaknesses, or they're going to get stronger because of those weaknesses. And because of Achan constantly attacking those weaknesses of Hiroshi last episode and the beginning of this episode, it caused Hiroshi to evolve as a tennis player. And it gave him the determination to where he didn't want to quit and not go pro. And right there, I respect that. I like how this series is actually developing these side characters. Not just Achan's getting development, it's actually these other characters. And it really adds more life to this series, honestly, because now in this episode, I was rooting for both sides, because I really didn't want to see Hiroshi lose, because I felt bad if he wanted to quit pro, like if he was going to quit pro after the match, and at the same time I didn't want to see Takuma lose because he's such a badass character. And so I was weighing my opinions of both characters, and I really didn't want any of them to lose. But to see the maturity of Hiroshi after this entire match shows you how far he came in this one single match. The development is absolutely stunning in this series. As I always say, the character development is so realistic. I mean, it is. I mean, it reminds me so much of real life. That is how great this character development is. I mean, anyone can complain about the slow pacing, the animation, whatever. You cannot complain about that amazing character development that's realistic. You don't have Achan coming off being a badass right at the start. You don't have these side characters just, being fucking powerhouses and then losing to Achan for no reason. No. You actually have this gradual build-up of these characters, and that's something I'm really enjoying, especially with this entire arc. Since this arc is technically over now, since Achan lost, it still was fun watching. Now, I think the next step from this point onward, what most likely is going to happen, is that Achan is going to try to go pro, because we see at the end of this episode, he talks to his parents, he says, hypothetically, if I was to say I wanted to go pro, what would you think? And of course it cuts to a cliffhanger, but still the point of this entire conversation shows that Achan is going to go pro eventually. We don't know if his parents will agree with him or not, but eventually he's going to go pro. Now, I have a feeling that this upcoming arc is going to focus on that, and this dude that was introduced this episode, Ike, this, I guess, not top 10 player in Japan that popped up this episode, I have a feeling most likely Achan is going to talk with him, and that person's going to set up Achan to go pro. That's exactly what I see happening and going on right now. Overall, I felt like this episode had the atmosphere and mood that Baby Steps really does well. The music was good, and I love the development. So, yeah, there's really not much I can complain about, as always, because Baby Steps is fucking epic. It's definitely one of those series I look forward to every Sunday, because it has something I really enjoy in the sports genre of anime. And as I'll say again, if you have yet to start this series, go start it, because Baby Steps is by far one of my favorite sports anime I've ever watched when it comes to just the character development. So anyways, everybody, tell me your thoughts about this episode. Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? What's your favorite moments about it? Let me know in the comments below. And everybody, I love all of you so much. Please be safe. Chibi out.